Update number 2 to 6 reasons not to be an atheist. Hey, what's up guys? Hey, this is just going to be update number 2 to 6 reasons not to be an atheist. And I don't want to go over all of the points. I'm just going to be going over the ones that I think that we should, the main ones. And so, just hope you're having a good time. First one would be intolerance. Now right now I'm not going to be making a big issue of this, but I'll be back on this later. Pessimistic, again, not really a big issue, but you know, I can argue and I no hope, etc., but not really a big issue. The next one would be that we said that atheism requires faith, and we pointed out that the idea that atheism does not require faith is delusionary. And when I say that, I mean sound atheism. Okay, so but first, let's get the correct definition of faith, and we will hear from the man himself, Mr. Richard Dawkins.
Well, I simply deny that. I do think that there is some evil in faith, because faith is belief in something without evidence. But
now, I'll accept that definition of faith because I do believe that it's valid, but that's not religious faith. Religious faith is a little bit different. If we go back to the Old Testament, Abraham, you guys know who Abraham is known as. He's known as the father of faith. Now, Abraham was in a situation where he knew 100% that God existed, but he still needed faith in God, because religious faith is a virtue. It's faith, hope, love, these three. Faith is a blessing, and it's a virtue. But Mr. Dawkins' definition of faith is quite valid.
Because faith is belief in something without evidence. But
so we're going to be using his definition when we claim that atheism requires faith. One thing that Richard Dawkins and many other atheists cling to on YouTube, cling to and believe in is the multi-universe. The idea that there are unimaginable amount of universes and that they all have like a different value for the constants and stuff. Now, by Mr. Dawkins' own definition, doesn't the multiverse, doesn't he have faith? I mean, come on, where's the evidence for the multiverse? Are you really willing to put your faith in the multiverse just to skirt a designer? Also, I also believe that atheists put their faith that science will bail them out. Who knows what science will come up? It might never come up with an answer of the origin of the universe or whatever. And they're willing to, and I like how Dinesh D'Souza puts it. He goes, is there life after death? We don't know. It's the undiscovered country. And we just do not know. I'm merely placing my faith for God. You're merely placing your faith against it. So I think that sums that up. The next one we go in over is no moral compass. Now basically, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be merging no moral compass and intolerance together. And when I say this, I not only mean that now atheism does not only not provide any moral direction, it also invokes certain things that put in the wrong hands can lead to immoral actions. Things such as moral relativism, that we are just modified monkeys that belong to the animal kingdom, that there will be no judgment day, that good and evil are subjective. All these things put in the wrong man's hands can lead to extreme immoral behavior. And while we're on the topic of immoral behaviors, you want to talk about the atrocities on both sides pretty much. Okay, but first we're going to take a look back at Soviet Russia. Soviet Union, atheistic Soviet Russia. Okay, first it was led by Lenin and then Stalin. Now, basically, and the similar instances happened in China. They suppressed, or they really wanted just to wipe out anybody who believed in God because they believed in God. And now, not all the people that they did kill were for that reason, but a lot, millions. And it's really interesting, and you could say, and So they killed so many people, not only in their own countries, but they went down south to Romania and such to do that. And if you look at, have you ever heard of Richard Wurmberg? He's from Romania. I believe he was a Christian minister, and he was tortured just because he believed in God. And many other instances were like this. Guards forced him to stand for hours in a narrow box with sharp metal spikes projecting out of every wall. His feet swelled and his legs trembled. And when he collapsed, the razor's sharp spikes tore his flesh. The soles of his feet were beaten bloody. Torturers whipped, branded, and knifed him. And they asked him, "Why don't you give in? You're only flesh and you'll break in the end." Wurmberg asked his tormentors, "Don't you have pity in your hearts?" And you know what the tormentors said? You know what they said? They said, "There is no God, no hereafter, and no punishment for evil. We can do as we wish." Now, if anything's in the name of atheism, that is. They were merely torturing him because they believed that there was no God and that evil will not be punished. That's, wow, makes you want to cry a little bit. And and I know that there have been similar instances, or on the religious side. If we look at the Inquisition, for example, people were persecuted and for not, if they did not convert to the Catholicism. Well, I just wanted to look at this, and you say to yourself, was it really because they were Christians that they did it? No. The Christian teaching says faith, hope, love, these three, but the greatest of these is love. Love your neighbor. Or, no, sorry. Do good to those who hate you. Love those who curse you. These are totally contradictory to what they were doing. So you cannot say that because they were Christians they did it. You know why they did it? See, the root of all evil is not religion. The root of all evil is not Christianity. The root of all evil is not atheism. The root of all evil is human nature. The root of all evil is pride and the desire for power. These are, if you look at all the atrocities that ever happened, basically that was in it. As C.S. Lewis put it, pride is how the devil became the devil. Pride is the ultimate evil. Now, but what I'm going to argue and say is that atheism permits that belief, pride, the desire for power, more so than Christianity. Christianity teaches that you need to lower yourself to God, and it says that, and tells you to humble yourself, whereas atheism does not really, just like what we said, what those people said right there. They said there is no God, we can do whatever we want. They even admitted it. So it permits it more, and it encourages, or not really encourages, but it permits those behaviors of subjective morality, that kind of stuff, which can be very dangerous. So I think that those ideas are very dangerous. And that's about it, I hope that you guys have a good time, and, if you have any questions, you're supposed to comment or whatever. Okay, see you guys. Bye.